Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Aziha binti Muhammad Isanimi and I'm from Group 1. So today my group is going to present about liberalism, its history, ideologies, and way it affects the Islamic worldview. So what we will cover in this presentation is the overall meaning of liberalism and its importance and the comparison between liberalism and other ideologies. So next we're going to talk about history of liberalism. Then we're going to talk about issue or problem related to the occurrence of liberalism which affected the Islamic worldview. Next we're going to talk about challenges faced by Islamic worldview. And lastly we're going to talk about how to overcome the problems and the summarize of this presentation. Liberalism is derived from Latin word liber, meaning freedom. Liberalism is a political ideology whose central theme is loyalty to individual and to the constructions of society in which individuals can satisfy their interests or achieve fulfillment. Liberalism is very synonym to individualism because they emphasize on theory and experiences of one's. Therefore, their knowledge is based on the use of reasons or logical only. They are very open-minded to all issues too. The core values of liberalism are included rationalism, freedom, justice, and tolerance. Why it is important? Liberalism leads people to more understandings and acceptance of each other through mixed societies and diversified ethnicities by freedom of belief, freedom of speech, freedom of choice, free economy, and competitions. They want every human being is of equal moral value. They also want justice is a method of treating people or everyone equally. Comparison between liberalism and others ideology. In the view of human nature, liberalism and socialism are inherently good compared to conservatism, which is inherently imperfect and selfish because people who support conservatism they are very greedy compared to liberalism and socialism. In the view of individual, liberalism is free to pursue individual goals. Like I said just now, they are very open-minded, so they think that people need to accept their opinions on all issues regarding about religions, economy, or society issues. While conservatism, the individual is to obey the power of structure. They need to follow the instructions of authority, the higher ranking. While socialism, they support the common good. In the view of society, liberalism is made up of individuals then working together, while conservatism is based on hierarchical. They are based on their ranking. While socialism, the society itself is more important than the individual because they want to ensure the harmony and cooperation among individuals in spite of their occasional conflicts and tension. That is why socialism they don't favor individualism much. So lastly, in view of private property, liberalism is used for personal benefit, while conservatism is necessary for stability. Why I say like this is because they think that society needs strong rules to ensure order. So that's why they establish the custom, law, and traditions to guide the governments and society. While socialism, they are the cause of inequality because they follow the majority of society rather than individual. So that's all from me. Thank you so much. So I will pass to the
Next, I will continue with the history of liberalism. Liberalism, in an easy word, is known as a freedom. Liberalism was reasonably located of its origin or emerged during the 17th and 18th centuries, an era which an intellectual and philosophical movement dominated the world of ideas. It arose with the start of the development of the capitalism and the start of the development of the industrial middle class from the 1750s onwards. Then, during this age of enlightenment, liberalism became more popular among philosophers and economists in the Western world. However, leaders during Glorious Revolution 1688, American Revolution 1776, and French Revolution 1789 used liberal ideas to overthrow royal tyranny. Only after French Revolution, liberalism started to spread, and only in 19th centuries when liberal governments started to establish their nations across the Europe and South America. Liberalism or classical liberalism reached its peak era during the 19th century. Britain can be seen as one of the countries who took liberalism deeply in its development, while America was to do in the 20th. Next, when we talk about liberalism, we cannot leave out John Locke. John Locke is a philosopher or key thinker who is often credited as the founder of liberalism during the 19th century. Some of his ideas are human beings are rational. He argued that there should be a government but government with consent. A famous concept he used, which is known as a social contract, which means that humans voluntarily give up some of their right in order to protect of their other big rights. Also, he argued natural right predates the state, and when there is no rule, there is no freedom. There is much more of his ideas and can be found in John Locke's book, which is Two Treatises on Governments, 1690.
Next, we move on to liberalism ideologies. So basically, liberalism is a political and moral ideology which can be found on individual liberty, consent of the governed, and equality before the law. Liberals hold a variety of positions depending on how those principles are understood, but typically it promotes individual rights, including civil and human rights, democracy, secularism, freedom of speech, freedom of religion, and a market economy, and they use yellow color as a symbol of liberalism. The central issues of liberalism that can be highlighted here, the first one is gender equality. Liberals argue that since humans are naturally equal, so all of them has the right to liberty. In other words, no one has the right to enjoy the benefits of a liberal society more than anyone else, and everyone is treated equally before the law. And then, they also stand for human rights. Most liberal Muslims feel that one of the Islam's basic ideas is the ideal of ultimate equality for all people. As a result, a breach of human rights has become a major concern for the majority of liberal Muslims. Liberal Muslims is different from their culturally conservative counterparts, which they think all humanity is represented under the umbrella of human rights. They have rejected the teachings that Allah has said in the Quran. Liberal Muslims have argued against the death sentence for apostasy based on the Quranic verse 256 in Surah Al-Baqarah that there shall be no compulsion in religion. Muslim liberals often reject traditional interpretations of Islamic law which allows slavery. They say that slavery contradicted to Islamic principles, which they believe it is based on justice and equality. And some claims that verses related to slavery or ma malakat aymanikum can no longer be applied because the world has changed, while others claim that those verses are completely misinterpreted and twisted to legitimize slavery. Amongst the human rights topics that receive a lot of attention are such as LGBT rights, the right to consensual sex outside of marriage, freedom of expressions, and political opinion. Apart from that, the most hottest issue is LGBT rights. LGBT stands for lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender. Generally, they are supporting homosexuality and same-sex marriage. According to them, regardless of sexual orientation or gender identity, nobody should be tortured or subjected to cruel, inhuman, or degrading treatment. No one should be accused just because of their thoughts. According to Liberal International Org page website, LGBT rights are human rights and should be advocated and defended by all liberals. As of January 2021, 29 countries recognize same-sex marriage, such as United States, South Africa, Canada, Australia, and many more. During February 2017, a public demonstration by 100 men gay residents had been held in Chechnya, Russia, to protest and stand for LGBT rights. There are many LGBT organizations, for example, Fatah Foundation. A Fatah Foundation is an organization that promotes the struggle of LGBTQ Muslims. It was formed by Faisal Alam, a Pakistani American, in 1997 and was registered as a non-profit organization in the United States until 2011. Besides, one of the leading LGBT reformatory Muslim organizations is Straightway Foundation, which was established in the United Kingdom in 2004 as an organization that provides information and advice for Muslims who struggle with homosexual attraction.
My name is Nurzaida Zakira binti Muhammad Zaidi, metric number 2111910. Today I will be explaining about how does liberalism gives challenges to Islamic worldview. The first challenges that will faced by Islamic worldview is liberalism will give threat to Islam. Okay, how does it give threat to Islam? The first one is the concept of freedom that promotes that liberalism promotes will make the Muslim feel attracted to join the liberal to believe the liberalism, and they will feel like they can do anything without thinking about Islamic law, and everything that they do is based on their human right that is not within Islam human's right. So they will be like they can do anything, such as like they can go for LGBT and drink like alcohol or anything that is against the law. So it will give like threat to Islam, because the Muslim there will be more Muslim that is attracted to liberalism than the Islamic, because Islam have an Islamic law, while liberalism is just living freely and freedom, so they can do anything they want, even though against the fitrah of humans. The second challenges is the number of Muslim LGBT will increase. As we know that Islam is against LGBT, while liberalism promotes LGBT and they give their support to LGBT people. So what is LGBT? LGBT is lesbian, gay, bisexual and transgender. This is against the human fitrah and truly against the Islamic law. So why is it against Islamic law? Because of the fitrah. We know that we're supposed to marry, man and woman supposed to get married, but they make like they support that woman can marry woman, or they support that they can have a relationship between the same gender. So this give a bad impact to the health and their family, because because it can harm yourself, like you can get HIV or maybe hepatitis. The last challenges that faced by the Islamic worldview that caused by the liberalism is the freedom of religion. So we know that in Islam we have to pray, we have to pay for zakat, and we have to fast at Ramadan. But the liberalism gives an idea to the Muslim that they don't have to do like that. They just have to their name is they are Islam in name, like Muslim, but they didn't practice Islam at all. So they think that is freedom for them. So it could lead to like atheism or even murtad, like you have you're not Islam anymore.
Now we are going to talk about the conclusion for this presentation. Liberal Muslims believe that they are created free, and that if you take away or diminish freedom, you are in fact contradicting human nature as well as divine will. In a nutshell, there are many outrageous attitudes in this thinking, especially in this era where everything is a modern thinking. Critical thinking can lead to misunderstanding to the message of revelation and the will of religion. In this modern world, it can be denied that some of us Muslims have some obstacles to keep their faith in Islam. Liberalism that spread in the community, especially in the Muslim community or Muslim society, could lead harm to us. Association that supports liberalism is increasingly widespread. The rules of obligated party must show to overcome this liberalism. Firstly, encourage to participate in religious talk. Religious talk could create awareness in the Muslim community regarding liberalism. Nowadays, we can join religious talk everywhere and every time. Religious talk also could be found easily. We just need to search the related topic about liberalism to seek knowledge about it. For example, why is liberalism can bring harm to Islamic society? How to overcome it, and so on. By joining religious talk, we can help Muslims to have a better understanding about liberalism. In addition, Muslims will be exposed to the current liberalism issues that affect the Muslim society. Secondly, by using social media to overcome liberalism. Social media has democratized the media space and have the ability to share the message with a larger audience in the multiple ways. Nowadays, almost all people in this world have a technology, have a gadget. The gadgets included smartphone, tablets, computer, laptop, and so on. So by having a digital technology, it makes it easier to spread the awareness or the information about the liberalism. The awareness can be spread through social media such as Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, WhatsApp, and so on. We can make a post and feed anything that related to liberalism. So we can tell a compelling story and clearly explain what is the meaning of it detailedly. With this post, people who following the post of the page of liberalism will know that they are following page of religion. With this action, whenever they are scrolling social media, they will at least once saw the liberalism post. The messaging across the platforms need to be consistent for us to have a good result. With this action, Muslim society will know what is liberalism and be cautious among them. In conclusion, we need to concern about liberalism, especially in our generation that almost generation loves freedom. This is important to avoid any slippage or lead to misunderstanding of faith. Exposure to liberalism needs to be expanded to avoid any Muslim or more Muslim to following the teaching of liberalism. Religion is very important for us to following the true ways or a good ways in a teaching that is correct of our religion, Islam.
These are the list of references for our presentation. Thank you.